All right, boys, let's party.
What's up, dude? How we doing?
I'm doing good.
Boys,
Mr. Brian Rogers has joined us right on time.
right
No
on
D.
time. Sorry, I
No
was
D.
shoving a little bit of food in my face before we got on here.
Shoving some D in your face, huh?
Some sort of frozen pasta meatball Stouffer's thing when I got home. Shoved that in my face, and
Some sort of.
yeah, it was like meatballs and pasta. I don't know. It wasn't very good, but it was it was a frozen thing.
Hey, what'd you guys do yesterday?
Well, we played a little golf outing, I believe.
Yeah, we played at the St. Gerard golf tournament at Sparrows Point Country Club in beautiful Baltimore, and it was a great event. And we had a lot of fun, and we had a lot of beers, and I am paying the ultimate price right now.
Oh, I bet you are.
Yeah.
Did you drive home this morning, or did you drive home? I'm assuming you stayed here somewhere last night.
I did stay. Yeah. I did stay in Baltimore last night. I drove home this morning. That drive across the Bay Bridge when you're hungover is always really, really fun. I've done it a few times in the last week, so probably going to be doing it one more time next week too for Mr. Sean Foy's wedding. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be it's been a lot of traveling, but we're all good. We're back in Ocean City. We're home base for at least another couple days. So.
Yeah, but the tournament was great. It's good seeing Dusty. It's always good seeing all your friends whenever they get a chance to come in town and have a good time, especially when the drinks are flowing. It's probably the soberest golf tournament I've ever played.
How'd you swing them?
Terrible, but absolutely awful. But but it was a lot of fun, and shout out to Drew Burton and PC Goins and Michael Latham, all those guys put on a show. And there's people I'm leaving out, but they put on a show for St. Gerard's. Money goes to a great cause. And I think this might be the end of the run for golf tournaments for 2024 for myself, at least.
Yeah. It was pretty cold there this morning. We had an hour-long frost delay, which stunk, but it ended up being a really beautiful day, so we can't really do much complaining about that.
Yeah.
But yeah. We got
before we get into anything, I want to give a couple shout outs real quick. I want to get them out of the way because I told them I was going to do it, and I was going to do it early. One, my boys from Ballyhoo hooking me up with some merch. I got a couple other shirts over here. So the band Ballyhoo, please check them out. They're freaking awesome. Anywhere you can find music, you're definitely going to be able to find those guys. And then the other big shout out is to Mr. Adam Pupo. It is his birthday today. We watched the Monday Night Football game together last night with Delaware Dave. Delaware was an incredible but shout out to Adam Pupo. Happy birthday, my man. I hope you and your lovely wife have a great day. So I just want to get that stuff out of the way. Not because it doesn't mean anything to me. It's because it's important to get it out front before we lose any eyeballs.
Yeah, and we just finished up our interview with John Hicks, former catcher for Seattle, mostly with Detroit. You'd probably recognize him with Detroit. That'll be coming out here in the next week or so, probably. Played baseball at UVA, just a wealth of baseball knowledge. But if you are a Huckleberry, if you become one of our Huckleberry members, you'll have first access at that. We'll probably put it out beginning of next week for you guys, and then we'll release it to the general public probably a week or two after that. But if you want first access, as well as some other perks, just sign up, become a member. It's pretty cheap. It's less than a beer. So helps us out, gets the Huckleberry down below back up into the Stone Age. But yeah, already got some. And one other announcement: next Friday around 11 o'clock. We haven't set in stone the actual time yet. We will be live from the Chesapeake Wine Company in Canton at the Can Company. If you know where that's at in Canton, that's where the actual shop is. But we'll be going live from there. I don't know if they'll actually be open or not. If you guys come by and see us in there, okay, so they'll be open. If you guys come by and even if they weren't open, like just come by. She'll let you in. Kim will definitely let you in.
Kim will let you in, and it's dog friendly. So if you're just walking your dog by, you can bring the dog in. You can have a good time. We're going to be there talking nonsense like we normally do.
Grab a drink with my wife. She'll be there drinking wine, making fun of us clowns.
without a doubt.
Oh, I think that's a great time for Rodgers to actually settle up on his dues.
Ooh, pie to the face. I got to
yeah.
get one.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you
I'm
do.
in.
That's a
Mhm.
great idea. I didn't even think
Oh,
about
and
that, Brooks.
Brooks, I got to show you the jacket. I got my Flower Girl jacket in today because I'm the Flower Girl at this wedding.
Jacket on or jacket off?
I'm just going to, it's on a hanger right now.
Okay.
I just got to tailor it. Here, it's right here.
I don't think you got it.
Nah, I don't think
Right
so
over
either.
his head.
Look at this beautiful
Nice.
thing.
Nice. You're gonna be the belle of the ball.
Ravens colors, everything. I'm excited.
Look at that.
I mean, you're wearing Ravens colors to a Commanders to a commies fan, and Hillary's a Giants fan, isn't she?
I'm not really sure. She's an NC State fan because she went to NC State.
Yeah,
That's all I really know.
Family's from New York. Interesting couple. Interesting duo there for fanship. But yeah, other than that, I think that's all the announcements I got, so we can get into it here soon. All right, here you go, Joe Radke, Riverside 97.
All right. For Valley, who did?
97.
97. 07?
No, 97. I mean
17?
the lead singer of Ballyhoo is older.
Okay.
Much older.
Maybe they got some new members.
I say much older, but like he's older than you would think.
He's older
I'm
than
friends
us.
with the manager. I've never actually seen them in concert yet. I'm not a big concert guy. I get claustrophobic. But the manager's a friend, and so I don't know too much about him. Big Ballyhoo guy, Joe. Nice. And Joe, you got a care package coming your way. I'm going to mail it out tomorrow. Okay, bub?
Yeah. Yeah, we got that put together here today, so that should be whenever Brian gets that in the mail. Really, at this point, yeah, let's get into it. Do we want to start baseball, or do we want to? Let's start baseball because that'll be quick.
Let's start breaking news. How about that? The Ravens have acquired wide receiver Deontay Johnson from the Carolina Panthers. The Ravens have sent a 6th-round pick or a 5th-round pick. And they get Deontay Johnson and a 6th. He is on the last year of his deal, so this is a salary dump for Carolina. He only hits us for 3.8 against the cap this year, which is basically no money for a receiver with the talent that he has. I think this helps our offense a little bit. I don't necessarily think this was like the end-all be-all kind of move. I think a lot of people would hope that we make a move in the secondary, especially after the performance this weekend. But I don't think this hurts us, and it's a pretty low-risk move. I like it. What do you guys think? Brian, let's go to you first.
Sure. This is a free player, basically, because if he does leave in free agency, which most likely he will next year, we get a compensatory pick. We'll get like a 5th or 6th, or probably like a 6th or 7th in return. Yeah. And the only thing that we really got to eat is 3.8. And you get a player of his caliber that can, in case an injury happens, knock on wood, it doesn't, but also just tag team with Bateman and Zay Flowers. And, I wonder if this means less time for Aguilar, but I don't know. I like the move. I mean, this is like praying that nothing's hurt. Like, what do you lose?
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough targets to go. I mean, to go around at a certain point, but I mean, I'm with you guys. I don't think it doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't hurt to bring in a veteran receiver he's actually having a decent little year for how terrible the team that he plays on. I mean, he's not obviously breaking records down there or anything like that or jumping off the page, but I mean, for the guys that are throwing him the ball and the team that he's on, it's like he's actually doing okay. Like I wouldn't expect him to have any touchdowns. He's got 3 or 4, I think, right now.
Yeah, and he can be a returner if needed.
Yeah, that is true. I like the move. I think it's a good move for the team. I think we do need to talk about specifically the drops this weekend when we talk about the Ravens-Browns game. Let's just get into it. I texted one of my buddies before the game. I hate this. Talk me off the ledge. I think for some reason, I just don't think we're going to win today. I had a bad feeling all week about it. And it just came to fruition. It was just one of those dumb games where Derrick Henry had 5 carries in the first half, ended up with 11. I don't know why we weren't running the ball more often. He had a 39-yard run in the first quarter or first half sometime. And we just kind of started throwing the ball all over the yard because they were kind of throwing it all over on us, and they couldn't really get anything going on the ground. But yeah, it was just a really frustrating game to watch. It just felt like we were just a little out of sync. Lamar kept making really awesome plays in the second half, and we couldn't come up with the big receptions when we needed to, and the big interception when we really needed it. Brooks, let's get your thoughts first, and then I'll go to Brian.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's banging the drum right now with the drop. Got a case of the dropsies going through the Ravens locker room right now on both sides. I mean, it was just one of those things where like they dropped the first interception, they dropped the second interception, and then you see Bateman drop a ball. You see, and obviously the one that sticks out is Hamilton's drop. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, he played a great game. Besides that, I mean, he was all over the field.
Yeah.
So he, I feel bad that it kind of stands out, and that puts like a stink on his game because he had a great game otherwise. But yeah, the other thing is weird that Marcus Williams was benched, was a healthy scratch. Ajabo was a healthy scratch. With Williams being benched, that just screams like they're looking to trade him. And then obviously the guy who steps in for him, Eddie Jackson, has a drop pick or two, maybe I think at least one. So yeah, and then Bateman like hits him in the chest or the face mask wide open down the field, and then like points up at the sun. Like, come on, it's been there the whole fucking game. Figure it the fuck out. So it was just really frustrating. It was just like one of those games where like one thing happened and another thing happened. It's like, all right, it's going to be one of these games where it's like, and Lamar played great, just nobody could do anything around him. And I don't know why we get so scared off of running the ball so easily sometimes. Like this was just a weird game to do that in. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a frustrating game.
They were in our backfield a lot in the first 2 drives, and then I think it kind of tapered off a little bit throughout the duration of the game. But everyone's going to harp on the drops. The team, from a high level perspective, just a high level overlook, is the team looked completely disjointed. It just nothing seemed to work. And I always say in baseball, especially when I coached, you can always tell how a game's going to go. And like if a guy hits a duck fart, over the shortstop's head in the left field, you're like, this is how the day's going to go, really? And you could see that already with all the drops, all the other shit. Nothing seemed to go our way, and it's all self-inflicted wounds. You can't blame the refs from this. You can't blame anybody else. We did not deserve to win, and we just did not look like a cohesive unit.
And I mean, and then Tucker comes in and misses. He misses a kick. Couple bad snaps from Nick Moore, or at least one bad snap that I remember that almost hit the ground. Luckily, that was still a pretty decent punt. Weird stuff. I was gonna say weird stuff with the ball with Tucker, with the chip coming loose in it. And we found out yesterday from Nick Moore was on Ryan Ripken's show yesterday, and apparently it happened to 2 of their 3 balls where the chip actually came loose in it and was rattling around in it. I mean, even that first kick that Tucker made it was ugly. It seemed like it barely got off the ground. So it's just an ugly game.
What is a chip in the ball? I mean, what does that mean?
So they have chips in the ball now so one of the things is it gives you a bunch of stats in terms of like the velocity, all the data. And then there was, and I'm not sure if this chip is still doing that or if it was another one they were trying to do. They're trying to put one in the ball to see like if it crosses the goal line. I know that was a thing that they were going to start testing out, but I think these are just data driven just for like the league in terms of like it can track the ball when it goes, like to how long they go break it in. And then it gives like the team itself like a bunch of data and statistics and stuff like that, miles per hour, like off the foot and all that different stuff. So
I saw him shaking the ball on the sideline. I was like, what the hell is going on over here? It's just filled with air.
Yeah, and apparently that's like that never happens. That was the first time that's ever happened for anybody. Like even all the old coaches over there were like, yeah, I guess they've been doing it for a couple of years. Like I've never seen that happen. So
I'm gonna pontificate very quickly. I am so freaking sick of not taking free points. Just take the free points, and that we went for it. Direct snap to Derrick Henry. Take the damn points, John. The league average right now for 2-point conversions and going for a fourth down is drastically down from previous years. So I don't want to hear this bullshit about, hey, let's go for a fourth down every freaking time. I don't care if unrolled hair Lamar wants to say go and point his finger. Take Tucker out there and let him kick a 20-yard chip shot.
I got two things. First, did you lose a bet to somebody and you had to say pontificate on air today, or what happened there? I've never heard anybody say that word.
My lexicon and vernacular is extremely good. Didn't know I am the Encyclopedia Britannica and a Webster's Dictionary at the same time.
You're an idiot, is what you are.
Without a doubt.
At no point did that incoherent rambling.
You were awarded no points, and they got
anyway.
Mercy.
I don't necessarily have a problem for them going for it on fourth. I'll push back a little bit, Rogers. I just hate the play calls on the first couple of short yardage situations. The first one, the direct snap to Derrick Henry, the Derrick Henry Lamar in the backfield at the same time thing is a complete nightmare for defenses to have to game plan for. And I think taking half of that out of we make ourselves so one-dimensional giving that look with Derrick Henry back there without Lamar. I think that's so stupid. And then later in the game, we put, who was it, Kohler or Andrews under center and tried to run like a sneak, and the snap, something happened with the snap. I don't understand it. If we're in a short yardage, we're the best team in the league at getting 3 or 4 yards in chunks because we can run the ball very well. I don't understand why you would change your look just like that for no reason. It's so stupid in such a situation.
And I agree with you. You handcuff yourself. You remove an option. You remove your best option, which is Lamar, right?
Yeah.
At least if you have Lamar back there, you have the option to keep it, him to hand off to Henry, him to fake the handoff, throw it to Henry, or him just to throw it outright. I mean, there's just so many more options there that you can go with instead of like, all right, what do you have with Henry? You have, all right, I'm going to run it, or I'm going to do the jump pass, which we haven't seen yet this year, which I'm guaranteeing we're probably going to see the next time he lines up in Wildcat.
And you take Ricard out of the game.
Yes.
Put an extra, put up, I mean, put that freaking ham hock in the game and just plow forward. Yeah. And then when you start running trick plays that early in the game, it almost shows that you are a little caught off guard by like how they came out to start the game, like the defensive scheme. It's like, why are we running trick plays already?
I see. I didn't mind it there just because I felt like we moved the ball pretty well to begin with. After, like, if they would have done it like later in the game, then I would have been, I would have agreed with you. But right there, I was like, yeah, we were moving the ball relatively easy. And it kind of felt like at first, like, all right, this is going to be another one of those games where we're just it's going to feel like we can move the ball at will. And we did move the ball damn well for most of the game, but I don't know. It's just, I get the only thing I can say is one of those games. Like, I just don't even know what to say.
And it just felt like it the whole way too. Like, you guys are completely right. It just felt like the whole game, like, God, this is just not going well. Even when we took the lead with like a minute and a half left or 2 minutes left, whatever it was, I just felt like Jameis was going to go down and kick a field goal. I just did. Yeah. It didn't feel comfortable. It didn't feel like a safe lead at that point with the defense playing the way they were. I did kind of think that Jameis was going to make a stupid throw, and he did. We just didn't capitalize it. But I didn't like it going in. I didn't like it watching it. It just never felt like we were going to win. And Rogers, you said it earlier, we didn't really deserve to win. If we would have won this game, it would have been
sloppy.
Stealing it. Yeah. But we got Deontay Johnson now. Hopefully he can play corner or safety, and bring us back.
I thought getting Eddie Jackson was actually going to be a decent pickup for us. He got toasted.
He's a vet. Yeah, I thought he was going to be great. He sucked.
Yeah, I just don't even know what the. I mean, our run defense was solid again. I mean, it wasn't our best performance out there, but it was fine.
Yeah, 23 for 80. That's not like
not the worst thing in the world.
not even
like
4 yards carry. I like that. Yeah.
And then we just get torched by some guy named Tillman that I've never heard of before in my life until that game. Like I just don't. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, we were out Wiggins and Humphrey, but like, I just don't understand why and how they're that bad back there, and how they are like they have so many busted coverages back there. It feels like, I don't know. I really don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
So,
and it sucks. I mean, obviously we're missing Humphrey and Wiggins. Those are probably the two best corners on the team, other than Stevens. So I mean, that hamstrings you a little bit, but you're not expecting a Browns team that's been very stagnant all year just because they have Jameis Winston to go out and absolutely torch this defense. It would have been awesome to see the defense step up and play a really good game today, and on Sunday, and it just didn't happen. But I mean, we can harken on it as much as we want to, but it was just a shitty game. It was a weird game. I don't think it gives an indication of the season moving forward. I still think we're one of the better teams in the AFC. But it just sucks. It just feels like the Browns and the Raiders game. Like it just feels like we should have won at least one of those games, if not both.
Yeah, and we said this about Jameis starting. We were like, man, he's going to sling it against us. I mean, we knew it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
But it's not doom and gloom for the season. I don't want to be a week-to-week podcast.
Yeah.
I really don't want to be a week-to-week podcast. It's just a bummer, but we'll rebound. We're a smart team. I do get nervous. The Ravens defense right now reminds me of the Orioles bullpen to try to make an apples to orange comparison. Like, they're not reliable whatsoever, and I truly feel that Zach Orr is, I think, a little over his skis right now, and hence why they brought in Dean Pease.
I mean, not only that, it's like it's not only his first time having this job, it's three or four other guys behind him that this is their first time in their roles that are moving up on the totem pole. So it's a lot of new going on the defensive side. But I mean, again, a lot of the shit going on is like some communication stuff that just, it's not even talent or scheme or anything like that. It's just like basic shit that needs to get figured out.
We need to make adjustments.
It's not improving right now.
No. And in fact, it's probably regressing.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we get the Broncos at home next week, and we'll preview that in our NFL preview show that we do every Thursday, where we do our picks for the week. But, I think we'll get the season back on track. I'm not super worried about the team as a whole. Interested to see what Deontay Johnson brings and if he plays this weekend. Let's get on to the second most important probably game of the week in our minds. The Washington Commanders win via Hail Mary against the Chicago Bears. It was number 1 overall pick Caleb Williams taking on the number 2 overall pick Jaden Daniels in Washington, D.C. This was a really highly anticipated game. A lot of speculation. We didn't know if Jaden Daniels was going to play. He was hurt with a rib injury all week, was limited in practice, and ended up starting this game. Honestly, this game kind of sucked. If you watched it, it got flexed to the 4 o'clock window, so it could be a more of a prime time game. And the game was really bad the whole way. Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders couldn't get anything going in the red zone on offense early in the game. Had to settle for field goals a bunch of times. Only had 12 points before the Hail Mary. But honestly, one of the most exciting endings to a terrible game I've ever seen. What did you guys think of the Hail Mary, and what did you guys think of Tyreek Stevenson and the whole game, or the game as a whole? Brian, we'll go to you first.
Sure. I mean, I'm not going to harp. I mean, everyone that watches this podcast, at least, or any kind of sports fan, already knows that Tyreek Stevens is a moron. So I don't need to beat that guy down anymore like a drum. Yeah. The Bears themselves look like a team that doesn't have a captain at the wheel. Like Caleb Williams is like antagonist. He was actually telling the defense to come up when he came to the line one time. Like he was like antagonizing the defense, talking shit. This has got that fingernail paint shit written all over it again, just acting like immature as hell. And I understand he's a rookie, but he's a fucking adult, and he's a professional athlete. So I just think the team That team is in shambles. That's why I said Eberflus is going to get fired during the season. That's my second pie of the year bet. And it's going to happen because they look like they have no fucking clue. And there's a lot of talent on that team.
I think it's tough to say they're in shambles. I mean, look, if they stop that Hail Mary, they're 5-2. The problem is they're 4-0 at home and they're 3-0 on the or 0-3 on the road. They can't win on the road. At least not yet this year. They haven't proven that they can. So I think that's going to be a big problem, especially in that loaded NFC North.
I think they're in shambles because it seems like the inmates are running the asylum, and Eberflus has no fucking idea what he's doing other than growing his beard and getting a fucking barbershop haircut in his own goddamn house. Anyway, moving on. Brooks, go ahead, man.
Brooks, what do you have?
I got nothing else to add besides Stevenson being a fucking jackass. I mean, he came out and obviously said Eberflus came out and said that he addressed the team. It's like, yeah, I would freaking hope so.
I mean, you have no other move.
If he didn't, he's gonna get thrown out of the locker room.
Yeah.
Not only did he miss like his coverage in that whole thing when he was supposed to be on Noah Brown and bodying him, like he's the one who tipped it to him.
Yeah, he volleyball set the ball right to Noah Brown. How do these guys not know? They have to practice this. How do they not know that the most dangerous way to get scored, or the easiest way to get scored on in one of these Hail Marys is a guy getting behind you? You got to keep at least one guy in the back of the end zone.
Because he was too busy talking shit to all the commie fans out there and wasn't paying attention to the guy who he was supposed to be on bodying him. Like
it's rough. It's rough for the Bears, but honestly, good for Caleb, or good for Jaden Daniels, and good for the Washington Commanders. Their fans deserve this, and their defense stepped up in this game. They played pretty well.
Eberflus is going to get fired. And look, I respect a man that uses Just for Men. I mean, look at this, okay? And I've never used it before, but he's got great grays going on, all right? Got great salt and pepper. I appreciate that, but it doesn't look like the team respects him.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll make it through the year either.
Yeah. Moving on to the next game, we have to talk about the Jets lay an egg against the New England Patriots. I don't have much for notes other than Drake May leaves this game around halftime with a concussion, and Jacoby Brissett comes in and plays his best game of the year. The Jets defense looks lost. The Jets offense doesn't really know. It feels like they don't really have much of an identity on either side of the ball. But yeah, I know you guys are going to have fun talking about this game. So, Bri, you start.
You don't want to hear from me. You don't want this. You got Aaron Rodgers after the game giving fucking haikus at the press conference about I've been in the darkness. We need to embrace the darkness. Why don't you embrace the fucking end zone? All right. Why don't you complete a couple more fucking passes? Stop being Socrates and be a fucking NFL quarterback. Ass clown.
I just don't I don't understand Woody Johnson's mindset in firing his defensive head coach when their defense is playing great, and then they promote their defensive coordinator to head coach.
Yeah.
Like what was the plan there? Like that it just doesn't make sense. Like
they're the Browns wearing green.
They are, man. And it's been really funny watching. I mean, Rex Ryan is going off, and he's going off on the defense now too. And he's like, this defense, he goes, you know what? I gave this defense the benefit of the doubt, like the last few weeks. He goes, this team absolutely fucking stinks. He goes, they're not doing anything right at all right now. So it's between him and listening to Belichick go off on him as well, and he straight up hates Woody Johnson. Has been very loud about it as well, and I think that's hysterical, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's not looking good.
Yeah,
and Son Reddick's tweeting like at Bill Belichick, like keep your name in my mouth, kind of stuff, like paraphrasing there. Like, dude, you just got back. Like you've been here for a cup of coffee and it's still warm.
Yeah, they look completely dysfunctional. I'm talking about the Jets. Offensively, defensively, they look completely out of sync. It's just it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And honestly, mathematically, it's almost impossible for it to happen. I would imagine they're going to have to get to 10 wins to make the playoffs, and they're 2-6, which means they're going to have to go 8-1 and 7-2 probably could get them there to the playoffs. It might not. It just feels like a kind of a wash season for the Jets, and feel bad for Jets fans a little bit because they're pretty much the most beaten down group of fans in the world. But yeah, this is rough. It doesn't look good.
For all those Jets fans that thought the Messiah in cleats was coming to them, you made this bed. You better soak in it for a little while, buddy. All right? All those Jets fans are like, oh, my God, we got Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be freaking amazing. That guy is – I'm sorry. I know I pontificate on Aaron Rodgers all the time, but he just – it seems like he wants to be more of a reality star than a quarterback now. Go back to the darkness. Go back to it. It's cool. It's cool there. You get to have fun. There's no bathroom.
All right. Let's move on. Let's move on. Thursday night. We haven't talked about this game yet. Rams beat the Vikings. Vikings have lost 2 straight after starting 5-0. Are you guys buying or selling Viking stock right now?
I mean, I'm still buying. Still buying.
Oh, that's a good question. I'd still be a buyer on this one.
Are you thinking about, you having meetings with your with your investment group saying like, hey, maybe we should talk about selling if they lose next week?
I don't want to be a week-to-week business, but you lose 3 in a row. It's kind of tough.
Yeah. I mean, that defense that we were giving a lot of praise to during the first few games that we all thought was going to be dog shit is not playing very well here the last couple games. Kind of came back to life again, to what we thought they were going to be. But yeah, and plus you got Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua making a comeback in that same game. That's tough. But yeah, I mean, they I still think there's a ton of talent over there, and they're still. I think they'll figure it out. They're very well coached. I just don't see how they don't figure it out. I think they're going to start beating up on each other in the division here soon too. So that's going to be tough.
Yeah, and normally when I think about, like, when you saw, if you ask me the question again, I'd give you another answer, which is I'm still buying the stock, but I look at leadership. So that you see the teams that don't have great leadership, see the Jets, see the Bears. If they don't have good leaders at the helm, Kevin O'Connell seems like he's got the ear of the team still to this day, and Ziggy Wolf and all that ownership group are behind him. So it's the infrastructure is there and the leadership is there.
Leadership reflects coaching.
We're going to be learning a lot about them this coming week. They've got flexed to Sunday Night Football, and now we find out that Joe Flacco is going to be playing quarterback against them for the Indianapolis Colts. So I think that could be a little bit of a tougher game. If they lose 3 straight, I think we're going to be having a different conversation next week. On the Rams side of the ball, though, Kyron Williams has scored a touchdown in every game this year. He's been excellent. He's been one of the best fantasy players in the league. Stafford threw 4 touchdowns in this game. As Brooks said, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua both came back and had immediate impacts. Puka had, I think, over 100 yards, and Kupp had a 50-yard game with a touchdown. So really things are looking up. The arrows are looking up for the Rams, and the arrows are kind of pointing a little bit down for the Vikings these last few weeks. As we discussed the Colts just now, they're going to be playing the Vikings next Sunday. We'll talk about their game this weekend against Houston. I mean, Anthony Richardson in the red zone is just a complete disaster. It just feels like he's going to drop the ball or going to make the stupidest throw of all time. I know they spent the 4th overall pick on him, but I think there's a reason they're going to Joe Flacco at this point. This was a winnable game. I think if Flacco plays quarterback in this game, I think they probably beat Houston this week. Richardson was 10 out of 32. God, that is so bad. Bri.
Sorry. So yeah. Where do I start with this? Let's start with one of our favorite segments, brought to you by the Chaucer. That's a shame segment. Which I've been back and forth between a couple of these, but if you are a quarterback who is not injured, tapping yourself out of a game off the field in a divisional game, like if they win that game, they're first in their division. you're coming off the field in a third and whatever at the a third and goal at the whatever yard line because you're tired. Like, get the fuck out of here. He just that instant right there, he lost the entire locker room. I guarantee it. That's why Steichen came out and said, like, oh, well, we're going to evaluate everything this week. And then obviously today they come out and say Flacco is going to be the starter. So yeah, I don't think he's going to get another snap this year after that bullshit. That's a shame.
All right. Well, I'm going to comment on the game first, and I'm going to go ahead and give my that's a shame, if that's okay, Dusty.
Go ahead.
Going back to the leadership comment I made earlier in terms of coaches, you are not a leader if you're tapping yourself out of a game. As hard as all of these guys work, they're finely tuned athletic machines, and so is he, by the way. You cannot get tired and let your team down, and you're going to bring in 39-year-old Joe Flacco. You're a 24-year-old kid, for lack of a better term, in the NFL, that's kid. For 20, he might even be 22.
He's 22.
Yeah, you can't do that. I mean, can you imagine Quentin Nelson after that game? I'd walk up and try to punch him in the locker room.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was literally about to say. Like, what do you think the offensive linemen were thinking after that? He held himself not only for one play but for two plays. Mm-hmm. Like at whatever in goal, third and goal. That's bullshit.
Yeah. And that just tells you don't have any confidence in yourself. And he has a decent offensive line. So it's not like he's getting, beaten battered like Andrew Luck did with the Colts back in the day. But look, I'm sure he's going to rebound at some point. He's still, I guess, projected to be the franchise quarterback there. But this is the love of the great unknown, and it's huge in the NBA. Like, if you don't know too much about a guy, but he's got all this super studded talent and all the media is about him, and I always make fun of him about the backflip stuff. He's like a crazy athlete. They love the great unknown. He wasn't that good at Florida. I got to throw that out there, guys. He wasn't that good at Florida. But he's the great unknown. So when you look at C.J. Stroud and when he plays against Georgia, and he's basically playing against an NFL defense, and he's carving and he's doing everything. Now, they still lost the game, but he was the best player on the field. You see proven talent. When you see Anthony Richardson running around doing backflips and all this other stupid shit, oh, yeah, he can throw the ball and hit a Jumbotron. That's awesome. But then he's tired all of a sudden. The great unknown is what people love.
Yeah, I mean, what's the old saying? Potential gets you fired. So
yeah. I mean, look, it's difficult for the Colts because he's 22 years old. He's a kid. He hasn't played much football, so you want to see what you have. Obviously, you can't give up on him at this point yet because you still don't know what you have because he's such a young guy and he hasn't played much. But the problem is, you got another guy on the team that was forced to play earlier in the season that's just bottom line outplayed him, and if you remember back to a lot of people compare him to Cam Newton, Josh Allen. Those guys really struggled earlier in their careers, specifically Josh Allen. His first 2 years in the league, he was terrible. And I'm sure Bills fans were calling for whoever their backup was to come in and play. The problem was it wasn't Joe Flacco, who's been excellent this year. And Allen was kind of forced to play, and those teams were just bad, and then he figured it out. I don't necessarily
if I remember correctly, I don't think they tapped themselves out of the game either.
No, absolutely not. And I totally agree with you guys. I think that was a complete punk move, bitch move, whatever you want to call it. But I think I understand the Colts perspective a little bit because they've sunk so much into the asset. They got to figure out what they have. But the problem is the way that the season played out. Joe Flacco came in earlier in the year, and there's just no way around it. Now the team knows the best option to win is Joe Flacco. Yeah,
and I'll say, I agree with you on this too. I don't disagree with what they did. I think they left him in a week too long. I think this decision should have been made before this game. Mm-hmm. And I understand why the decision is made. They got to figure out what the fuck they have, right? I get it. But we were calling for this last week. Like, how can you sit there and play like at your hardest level when you just feel like okay, so we're actively not trying to win games right now when we have like the better quarterback is sitting on the bench right now. Like what does that send? What message does that send when they have a playoff defense? They really do.
Mm-hmm.
They have a damn good shot to make the playoffs with Flacco at the helm. So I'm glad this decision, it's a no-brainer decision. And I think it's going to take a lot for Richardson's going to have to do a lot to get that locker room back on his side. And I don't think there's any way he starts another game this year without him doing something, without Steichen or whoever is in that locker room or one of the other captains saying, all right, he's earned to be back in here. He's proven to us that we can go fight for him again, because I don't think anybody in that locker room is going to want to fight for him at this point. I wouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously I don't want to come off for all three of us. None of us played football, so we don't know the intricacies of a football team in the locker room. But we did play baseball, and you never tap out on your teammates ever. And he's getting all the criticism he deserves. Hopefully, I'm sure he's a good person. Hopefully, he rebounds and has a great NFL career. But right now, he put himself in a pickle, and I would never want to lose the confidence or respect of my teammates. And he definitely, without even being in the room, he did, because none of those other guys would have fucking done that.
No, tap out if you're hurt, but when you just blatantly come out afterwards and say you were tired, yeah, you can go fuck yourself. We're in week 8. We're in week 8 right now, and you haven't started every single game. How are you tired? How are you not conditioned enough? You're 22 years old.
Colts had some bad luck with this. Let's see. Andrew Luck retired during the preseason. Anthony Richardson tapped out. And remember the one guy, the cornerback, Vontae Davis?
That wasn't with
quit. He quit. It wasn't with him. It wasn't with the Colts. He was retired during halftime.
That was with Buffalo, but yeah, he was a Colt before that. But that was with Buffalo.
Oh man, I don't get it. Oh, but that's a shame. I know it's a change up right now, but the Dwayne Wade statue.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh my.
Did you see what he said? He looked around and he said, "Who's that guy?"
That's bad. That's up there with the bad Ronaldo one. It's like
it's the worst seeing those when the celebrity is getting the statue and you look at it and it's just so bad. I feel bad for the artist because obviously they put so much work into it, but obviously not as much as they should have, because it didn't look anything like Dwayne Wade. I think you could have given me 500 guesses and I probably wouldn't have gotten to Dwayne Wade just looking at the statue.
I would have thought Gilbert Gottfried.
That's a shame is the person operating the helicopter at the St. Gerard's golf tournament yesterday. I don't know
what happened. I left early. What happened? What happened?
There was a scenario where there was a hole in the middle of the first fairway and a helicopter was supposed to come and pick up some golf balls. Everybody entered in a raffle and all the golf balls had numbers on them, and whoever had the golf ball that landed closest to the hole that was in the middle of the fairway that was dropped from the helicopter would win the raffle. And the helicopter driver gets down there and the helicopter breaks down on the fairway and he's pulling out a socket wrench and trying to fix it on the middle of the fairway. And it was just a complete disaster. We were there for like an hour and a half trying to figure out who was going to win this raffle. He ended up finally getting it done. It took forever. So that's a shame to that helicopter driver, that helicopter, every part of it. The whole
there's no beer. All the beer was gone at that
All
point.
The beer was gone.
And thank you, Chaucer, for That's a Shame segment.
Thank you, Chaucer.
Going to the other side of the field in the Houston Indy game, just because we didn't talk about it, Stephon Diggs is out for the year with a knee injury. He had a non-contact injury this weekend. He walked off the field under his own power, but he is out for the year. The Texans, if you remember, are already missing their star wide receiver, Nico Collins. He's on IR for at least another week or two. So Tank Dell is Robert Woods, and I guess I don't know if Houston's going to be in the market for a receiver, but it looks like Tank Dell is going to be leading the way for Houston moving forward.
I think Nico has a potential to come back this week. They think if he doesn't come back this week, it's either going to be next week, I believe. He's on his timeline has started to come back.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, just other than that from this game, I think Houston looks a little flawed. I don't think they should be. I don't think they should have been close in this game with Indy based on how Richardson played. I think Houston probably should have just trounced them, and they kind of hung around with them. But it is a divisional game and it's a tough matchup, so I understand. But I have concerns with Houston. It just feels like they're not really putting teams away as well as they possibly could.
I agree.
Season. Let's move on. We spent a lot of time on that game, so we'll move on and we'll go through this next game. Packers beat the Jags 30-27. Jordan Love has a groin injury. It looks like he avoided long-term issues, and I think they're calling him day-to-day or week-to-week. We'll see if he ends up playing next week. Not 100% sure on that. Jags also lost some receivers to injury in this game. Brian Thomas left early with a chest injury. They're calling him week to week. And Christian Kirk broke his collarbone. He's out for the year. A lot of people thought he might get traded at the deadline because the Jags are terrible. And he has a semi-manageable contract, I believe, moving forward. But he's out for the year. He broke his collarbone. So did you guys watch any of this game? You have any thoughts on this game in general?
I didn't get a chance to watch any of it, but that just really stinks because it seems like there's a lot of injuries. Like we've talked about wide receiver injuries all the last 7.5 weeks. Yeah. So it just really stinks. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I didn't watch a ton of it. Surprised to see that the Jags put up that many against the Pack, and this game was that close. But I mean, Love's been a little shaky since he's come back from that. What they end up calling it, like a high MCL sprain or something, or high
I think it was like a knee sprain or something like that.
Yeah, so he's been a little shaky ever since then. So interested to see how this affects it.
Yeah, I don't really know what to think about the Packers moving forward after that game, but I think we'll learn a little bit more once Love comes back and see if he can settle in after all these injuries earlier in the year. The next game I want to talk about is the Bills. Actually, let's do a combo here. The Bills kill the Seahawks and the Eagles kill the Bengals. Bills just looked pretty unstoppable on offense. James Cook had 111 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Geno did not look good in this game. I know the stat sheet doesn't really look that bad, 21 out of 29, I believe, but really did not look comfortable in this game without DK Metcalf running rampant for him. It just didn't seem like they could get anything off the ground. Every time they got into the red zone, something stupid happened. They just couldn't put the ball in the end zone. And then the other game, Eagles absolutely kill the Bengals. Jalen Hurts looks amazing. He's got 9 touchdowns in his last 3 games. T. Higgins was a late scratch in this game. I guess he hurt his quad in practice on Friday. And other than that, the Bengals defense is just abysmal. It looks like the Seahawks are coming back down to earth where the expectations kind of were earlier in the year. I know I was high on them, but not quite as high now that I've seen them play. What do you guys have on these games? Do you have anything that stands out to you in terms of any of these 4 teams or either of these 2 matchups? Brian, we'll go to you first.
Okay. I mean, really, I don't have too much to really say about either team because I don't watch them enough. I just watch maybe the highlights or whatever's on red zone at the time. So I don't know the intricacies of the squads other than the player names and fantasy stuff. But this is the time of year in the NFL where the cream starts to rise to the top. So I think over the next 2 weeks, you're going to see if the Seahawks are real. They need to be able to rebound. Same with the Ravens. The Bengals are done. They're done.
Yeah, I said this. Sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
No, this could be, and if T. Higgins didn't get hurt, I could see him being moved maybe to the Texans or something like that. Given that the Bengals season is basically over and T. Higgins is not happy, and Jamar Chase wants to get paid, they're not going to be able to pay both of them.
What's the injury? Do we know?
He said hamstring.
It was quad or hamstring. He aggravated. He hurt in practice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not a ton to add to that. I would say the Eagles look so much better since AJ Brown's come back. So much better.
Yep.
And so is Jalen Hurts.
And Saquon's killing it. He's killing it. He's on pace for 1,800 rushing yards and I think like 400 or 500 receiving yards.
Yeah, we were all kind of skeptical on the Eagles until the last couple of weeks, and literally since AJ Brown has come back, I think we've all kind of been, Eagles feel like they're back a little bit. And I said going into this weekend that I think if the Bengals lost that game, they're done for the year. They lost that game pretty badly. So I just don't see, unless they run the table like we said, I just don't see it. Pretty surprised about how bad the Seahawks have looked the last couple of weeks, especially with how surprising they were at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, other than that, I don't have a ton to add.
Yeah, we'll move on. I don't really have much to add other than what I've said and what you guys have said already as well. Another blowout. Lions absolutely trounced the Titans 52-14. Goff only has to throw 15 times, 12 completions, 85 yards, has 3 touchdowns. The Lions returned to punt. They kept on getting the ball in short field situations, which is why Goff didn't have to throw very many yards to win this game. Jahmyr Gibbs ran all over the place. Everyone that you had on your fantasy team that's on the Lions did well in this game. Everyone scored. This was just an absolute beating. Sam Laporta had a great game. That was his best game of the year.
It was, but it was still like 13 or 14 points. It wasn't anything
that's
like.
I mean, whatever.
That's
good. Anyway, I think the Titans are just abysmal. I think you can cross them off as being any kind of contention to do anything this year. I don't think they can steal games from anybody. I think, especially with Mason Rudolph there as a quarterback, they're just a dumpster fire. And the Lions took care of them like they should have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's a wild stat line. 85 yards, 3 touchdowns, and they put up 52 points. That's wild.
Yeah, at one point I texted the group chat. At one point in the third quarter, they had 49 and he only had like 45 yards. I think he had less passing yards than they had points at that point, which was crazy.
Yeah, if you're Jared Goff in fantasy after that game, you're probably pretty ticked off.
But, I mean, he still had 3 touchdowns.
So he still had a decent week, but yeah.
Steelers beat the Giants to stay in control in first place of the AFC North. They improved to 6-2. I guess Russ looked a little better. I didn't really watch much of this game. Did you guys watch this game at all? You have any thoughts on it?
I watched a lot of it. Russ looked good. He threw a couple bucket balls. What I mean by that is he dropped the ball in a bucket. It was deep downfield.
You don't want to say what everybody else has been saying?
What?
Pickens? I think it was Chris Collinsworth like last week when he made his first. They kept calling it his moon ball, and like everybody thought everybody started using that term, and I'm like, what is this moon ball?
No, I call them bucket balls. I heard someone say that one time, and I just really liked it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't on TV; it was like a random person. But he looked good. Pickens looked great. He had I understand the NFL rule says you have to have both feet down, but I think it's even more impressive that in that one touchdown that got called back or called incomplete because he touched the 1 foot twice, and it doesn't count. Like, damn, that's even harder than getting 2 feet down. So anyway, or both feet down. But Steelers look pretty good. I mean, once again, culture, leadership. They're I hate to say a well-oiled machine because I think right now it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. But with Tomlin at the helm, they're going to be just fine. That's all I really have on the Steelers. The Giants are once again, we use dumpster fire a lot. Giants are a dumpster fire. Watching Brian Daboll, I try to explain how Daniel Jones missed checks and wouldn't transfer guys over to chip TJ Watt. It was pretty comical. It's like a 2-minute video clip, and Brian Daboll just looks like he is completely searching for a sentence.
I think he should gain the weight back. I think certain people just make more sense as bigger guys. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. He looks weird on TV. Also, did you see they benched Deonte Banks, the Terps guy that they drafted in the first round a couple years ago? They benched him because he's been playing so bad. He a Terp. Other results from Week 8. Niners survived that late surge Sunday night from the Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb scored 2 of the most wide open touchdowns I've ever seen in my life. I mean, if you're playing against the Cowboys offense at this point, with Ezekiel Elliott being as terrible as he is and all the other weapons being pretty much non-factors, maybe you should probably figure out where CeeDee Lamb is because he's the guy that's going to kill you on the field, and he had 2 of the most wide open touchdowns ever. But the Niners ended up winning the game. Jordan Mason left the game, didn't really play very much. Debo got banged up. He was kind of in and out all night. Kittle was just going ape shit in this game. And another that's a shame real quick. Who the fuck cares if it's National Tight Ends Day? I am so sick of hearing that on Sunday. But good for Kittle. He went off on National Tight Ends Day. You guys have anything from this game? You think the Cowboys are frauds? You think the Niners are going to hit their stride after this bye week? What do we think?
Brooks, go ahead, man.
Well, yeah, I do think the Cowboys are frauds, first of all. And I mean, the Niners are just gonna. It just depends on how healthy can they get, you know? So I mean, really, that's what it's going to depend on for them. They're just so banged up that I just don't know. I don't know if they can recover from all these injuries. It felt like it was like 2008, 2020, I think, when the Ravens had all those injuries, and it's like, man, like, what are we supposed to do? Like, we're a walking third string team right now. That's what that feels like for the Niners. I kind of feel bad for them because I remember how that felt as the Ravens.
Yeah,
as a Ravens fan. So
that's how I felt as an Oriole fan this year.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Quick on the Cowboys. They're frauds, terrible leadership, absolutely awful. And we keep talking about leadership. Mike McCarthy is definitely going to get fired. Jerry Jones is a freaking moron. He could have operated that helicopter better than at the golf.
Well, he's not going to get fired.
Mike McCarthy is definitely going to get fired. Jerry Jones is just a moron.
They're just not going to bring him back.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. He's not going to get fired. It's just they're just going to play out his contract. Well, that's going to be it.
There's some team dissension between CD and Dak. You can see the body language on the sidelines, which is incredibly bad for a team. But to go to the Niners, this is their window before they have to pay Brock Purdy. And obviously, very unfortunate that all these guys are getting hurt. Misfortune for the team in general. This, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. Kyle Shanahan doesn't win this year. They might start looking. And this reminds me a lot of that Tampa Bay. It reminds me a lot of Tampa Bay when they let go of Tony Dungy. And they brought in John Gruden and he won right away. But how many times you need a guy to get you over the freaking hump? And they always get to the Super Bowl, but they can't win the damn game, or they lose in the NFC Championship game. And I understand he's had success. And yes, we just talked about the injuries. But maybe there needs to be something different.
Nah, I mean, if they're going to fire him after this year, I mean, there's not a whole lot he can do about all these injuries. He's not the one.
Yeah. I mean, and they won the game, by the way. So.
Oh, yeah, they won the game.
They still have a chance to win the division. I mean, obviously the Rams are coming back a little bit. The Cardinals have won their last two games kind of inexplicably, and the Rams the Seahawks are on the down arrow. But I don't know. I don't think it's Shanahan's fault.
Well, there's a lot of season left, so we always got to qualify that, and you can't go week to week. And yes, they did win the game, but I'm just talking about getting over the hump kind of deal, like all inclusive.
Fair enough. Cowboys offense just looks terrible, and they can't stop the run at all. I don't even know who the guy's name was that was playing running back for the Niners, but it didn't matter. I think they could have put Marshall Faulk out there right now, and he would have.
Did Dalvin Cook get any carries? I know they activated him.
6 carries for 12 yards.
Sick.
Really, really exciting stuff.
Talk about a fall from grace.
Running the rock.
Yeah, that guy was just miserable last year and looks like the same way this year. His little brother's good though. A couple of games I want to go through quickly because I know we're kind of going long on some of these reactions here. But Chargers kill the Saints. Ladd McConkey goes crazy in this game. I think he put up like 31 fantasy points against me this week, so that was really fun. The Saints are terrible, especially without Carr. I don't expect them to compete in any football game. We've said it multiple times. I don't really think there's much more to add there unless you guys have something. We can just move right on. The Cardinals defeat the Dolphins. Tua returns, and everyone and their mother is on the Dolphins -1.5 or whatever they were against the Cardinals. And Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride just went crazy. They both had really big games here. Kyler Murray looked pretty good, and somehow the Cardinals are kind of frisky. And I don't really know what to think of the Dolphins. I think their season's pretty much over based on their record at this point, right?
Dolphins are in trouble. It's being quirky and weird like Mike McDaniel is just really cool until you start losing, because winning is the best deodorant. We all know that. So all of a sudden now, I mean, look, once again, a lot of season left, but they're probably toast 2-6. You're in a world of pain.
I got nothing else.
Yeah, he's got nothing to add. Chiefs win I have written down it was a weird game against the Raiders. I honestly, if you watch this game, it looked like the Raiders kind of were in control. They had a lot of opportunities in the red zone. I don't know how the Chiefs keep winning these weird fucking games. We talk about it every week, and they're 7-0, and Mahomes it doesn't even look very good. I don't really know. Kelsey though had his best game of the year. I think his first touchdown of the year.
Yeah. First touchdown in 10 or 11 games, something like that.
Yeah, he looked really good in this game. So hopefully they can get him back to form, or hopefully they can't for the Ravens' sake. But for their sake, I'm sure they're hoping they can get him back to form. The Raiders are just, I don't know. I think we saw Desmond Ridder in this game at one point. It's just things aren't going well there. Broncos beat the Panthers 28-14. Bo Nix has a big game. Panthers are pretty bad though. I don't really have any faith in Bryce Young. It was interesting to watch the highlights of this game just because I watched them just because the Ravens are playing the Broncos next week and I wanted to see what was going on. Cortland Sutton had a pretty big game in this one. I think a lot of people were dropping him in fantasy leagues. So if you guys pick him up.
Yeah, the Broncos now have a pretty decent record.
Yeah.
5-3, guys. I mean, I would not have expected 5-3 out of the Broncos.
I certainly would not have either.
And Bo Nix keeps getting better. I'm not by any means saying that they're a great team, but I mean they are definitely trending in the right. Like they're getting better every week, and their defense is good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Could be a sleeper team. That could make a run. Their defense is good enough to keep them in games against pretty much anyone, I would think. We'll learn a little bit about them in this Raven game, I think.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, hopefully we can put a decent game together. But yeah, Broncos, do I think they're going to do anything? No. But definitely a team I wouldn't want to see if I'm trying to slip into the playoffs at the end of the year and you're playing the Broncos and you're like, shit, this is not a team I want to play now. At the beginning of the year, you circle this game like, oh, easy win.
But, because whoever Surtain's on, you can pretty much eliminate from the game because that guy is a stud. Last game of the week, Falcons beat Tampa for the second time this season already. I can't believe Falcons and Tampa have already played twice. They took control of the NFC South. I believe they went to 5-3. Tampa now falls to 4-4, I believe. Tampa actually looked pretty good on offense without Evans and Godwin. Cade Otton came up big for them, had a big game. But the Falcons just had too much for them in this one. And Kyle Pitts had probably the best game of his career.
Yeah, until he almost dropped that ball in the end zone.
Yeah, he Deshaun Jackson'd it, but he got away with it.
Yeah. I don't know. Tampa's they're a different team at this point without their two stud receivers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't. Yeah. I can't believe that they've played 2 games against each other and the Steelers still haven't played a division game yet. It's nuts to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ugly. It's ugly in Tampa. It's going to be ugly in Tampa without Evans and Godwin, I think. Although, like I said, their offense didn't look all that bad, so I guess I shouldn't say that. I don't know if you guys knew this, but the Saints and the Panthers play next week, and I swear to God, if we have to watch Spencer Rattler versus Bryce Young for 1 minute on Sunday, I'm going to lose my mind. I plan on watching none of that game.
How's Andy's thumb doing?
I don't know, dude. Do you guys want to talk a little World Series, or Brian, do you want to get to the drafts? Because I know you're on a time crunch.
Yeah, let's do 5 minutes on the World Series.
Okay. Yeah, I think we have to talk about it just because it might not be going on the next time we talk on Thursday. Yeah. The Dodgers are just dominating. Their pitching staff has been excellent. It looks like Aaron Judge is completely lost. Stanton is the best hitter on the Yankees, it feels like at this point. And Freddie Freeman, man. Freddie Freeman's just been killing it. I think he's like minus 1,000 to win MVP of the World Series. I don't know how he possibly couldn't. I think if Mookie hit 4 home runs tonight, I think Freddie would still win MVP.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah,
No doubt.
What have you guys seen, Brooks, in particular, from the Dodgers starting pitching and their bullpen?
Yeah, Dodgers pitching's been phenomenal, obviously. Freddie Freeman, is there an easier guy to root for, to be honest with you? I love that dude. I've always loved that. He's such a good dude. Good for him. Love it. Love to see it. And honestly, Yankees fans, you kind of got that feeling that the Orioles fans had the whole second half of this year. The bats have just gone completely dead. That's all I got. I mean, there's just nothing else. They just can't fucking hit right now. Whether that's just them not being able to hit or that's the Dodgers being that good at pitching, it doesn't really matter. They can't hit at the moment.
My reverse psychology on Aaron Boone has worked.
Finally, you're worried. It was worrying me a little bit.
Do you guys think the Yankees steal one, or do you think the Dodgers just close it?
I think the Yankees steal one tonight, and then I think the Dodgers close it the next one.
Yeah, today's a bullpen game, so this is kind of going to be their only shot. But I mean, last time they had a bullpen game, they shoved. So we'll see. I don't know.
The only thing that concerns me, if they steal one today, then you get Cole in the next game, and that could be dangerous. And then you go back to LA.
Yeah, I guess you could be a little concerned about that, but I think the Dodgers have this well in hand. I think they're going to close it out in Game 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, not much else to say. Like we were talking about, I guess there's probably more in-depth stuff we can be doing. But look, go ahead.
It's a very simplistic World Series so far. The Dodgers are dominating. The Yankees bats have gone cold. The Dodgers, everything's working right for them. I mean, there's nothing really else to go crazy in depth on if we want to start breaking down pitches and at bats. But it's just the Dodgers are hot, the Yankees are cold, and it's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to making the Yankees my That's a Shame next week. It's going to be really fun. Okay.
Do we have to have Tim back on then?
Yeah, maybe. Let us go into our final segment of the day, our snake draft. Today's snake draft is brought to you by Pig and Rooster, and it will be best video game characters. I don't know if you guys had the tally for last week. I think Brooks might be doing that right now. It looks like he's looking down at his phone, so I would imagine that's what he's doing. We're going to see who is going to go first, but last week we had an extra in our draft with Mike being on. So obviously we're only going to count our votes for the ordering purposes.
Dusty me, Brian.
Aha! Look at me getting back in the winner's circle.
Make sure you're marking the winners down so we can actually do this tally here at some point.
Okay. Yeah. We'll do that for sure. So I get number one pick in best video game characters ever, huh? Well, you know who I'm going to pick because I told you guys who I was going to pick. I will take Yoshi, number one. I know that he's probably not the right answer, but he is 100% my favorite video game character of all time. I absolutely love him.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go with, we mentioned him last week, Sonic. Love me Sonic and Knuckles.
Sonic the
Give me Sonic.
I think that's a strong pick. You get two of them, right?
Strong pick. I'm going to go Mario. Have to, right? It's still classic Mario.
That's best player available. You got to, yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm going to go with one of my favorite Nintendo games of all time. I'm going Glass Joe. Bro,
I don't even know what that
Mike
is.
Tyson Punch Out, Glass Joe. He was 1 in 99. And he's the first guy you fight in Mike Tyson Punch Out.
Oh my god. That's a crazy one. Brooksy?
I mean, this is like one of the most popular video games of all time, so I gotta take it, even though I wasn't a huge fan of the game. Master Chief for Halo.
Fuck you. Yeah, that's was going to be certainly one of my picks in this wraparound. Definitely my favorite game growing up was Halo 2 and 3. So that's really going to be tough for me to not have him on the board there. Give me Link from Legend of Zelda. I really like Link, and also from Super Smash Brothers and all kinds of other games.
That's the right answer.
Yeah, and then after that, I mean, it's so tough. There's so many good ones. Give me Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat.
Nice.
Oh, good one.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Man, I don't even know the name of some of these dudes that I played with.
There's some real heavy hitters on the board still.
You know what?
There's a lot of
Give me
hitters.
give me James Bond.
Wow. Okay. I think that's definitely reasonable. 007 Goldeneye was.
Goldeneye.
I just wrote James Bond. James Bond
Uh-huh.
was a huge part of our childhood for sure. So I think that's a good one.
I will go with my favorite Mario Kart character, Wario.
Oh wow.
Wario. And then I'm gonna go with going back to Mortal Kombat. I'm gonna go Scorpion.
I love Scorpion. Get over here.
Okay.
Brooks and I used to watch the Mortal Kombat movies, the old ones, all the time. They
They
were
do
really
not-
old and cheesy.
They do not hold up. They do
They
not
do
hold
not
up.
hold up at all.
Not at all.
No. Let's see here. Let me get. I mean, do I just pander? Just give me Pac-Man. Give me old Pac-Man. It's an original.
Yeah, I mean
It's one of those like Mario where you can't pass it up, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple on here that I really think should be taken, but from the purposes of me just picking my actual favorites,
Yeah, that's where I was.
I'm just gonna do that instead. I'm definitely gonna take John Marston from Red Dead Redemption, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Those are two of the best video games ever made, in my opinion. With the last one, give me Doom Guy. He's just the Doom guy. He's just the guy who kills all the hell demons in Doom. He's the main character. He's the weapon.
The first person shooter.
He's
You
Doom guy.
are going to lose this draft so drastically.
Shut up, Glass Joe.
Doom Slayer. Doom Slayer.
You could call him Doom Guy, Doom Slayer. I probably should have gone with somebody else there, but we played a ton of Doom growing up. I just recently played the newer Dooms that just came out, and they're really good. So I'm gonna go with Doom Guy.
Doom Guy.
All right.
His name's Doom Guy.
So my last guy, I don't know the name of either. Whoever the main character. Whoever the main character is in Grand Theft Auto. I don't know his name.
The first in Grand Theft Auto 3, 4, 5, which one? Grand Theft Auto 3?
I don't know. Is it all the same guy that's the main character that you play with?
No, it's not. Every one has a different story.
Oh.
The one we had as a kid was Grand Theft Auto 3. Would you like him?
Yeah, give me him.
Okay.
That was the one I played the most.
His name is Claude. I don't know what his last name is, but his name is Claude. I know that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And Bri, you finish off the draft.
Oh, shit. Can I change mine?
Nope, it's over. Sorry.
You can do it, Brooks. I don't care.
All right, go ahead, Brooks. We'll give you a little reprieve.
Yeah, what do you want?
Pablo Sandoval.
Pablo Sanchez, you mean?
Pablo Sanchez, yep.
Pablo Sandoval.
That's actually
They're
really
kind of the
answer.
same person, right?
Completely
You should be
forgot.
defaulted because you should be defaulted because you had to re-ask for a pick and then you got the name wrong.
I completely forgot about backyard baseball.
All right. Only because it was my favorite video game growing up when I was a little kid. Was I'm going to take one of my favorite Ninja Turtle. I'm going to take Donatello.
Yeah, that's a strong.
Love it.
That's a strong
Love it.
answer.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with the Ninja Turtles. Some guys we didn't mention: Donkey Kong, Bowser, Lara Croft. Yeah, I mean, there's so many. Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War is one of my personal favorites as well. You guys go ahead with a couple.
Luigi, Toad,
Yeah.
Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles,
We could have done
And
best
that-
Mario characters. I mean, there's so many of them.
Ryu from Street Fighter,
Oh yeah.
and Princess Peach.
Brooksy.
I can't think of any off the top of my head, to be honest with you.
I mean, there's so many good ones. Nico Bellic from
Pikachu.
from Grand Theft Auto 4. Pikachu's a good one. Ash Ketchum, you can say. Crash Bandicoot, Ratchet and Clank, Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid.
Ooh,
Here
here we go.
a bunch of guys. Ezio from Assassin's Creed 2 is a really good one as well. Bill Clinton
Johnny
from
Cage too.
NBA Jam, is that what you said?
Oh yeah.
Well, we know who Joe's taking in this pick this week. He loved the Yoshi pick.
I could have
Yeah.
just straight up taken Tony Hawk from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I played so much of that game growing up too.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, that's been our snake draft. I know Brian's got some stuff he's got to attend to, so we're gonna let him get out of here. Brian, you want to do your sign off?
Yeah, it's my dad's birthday on the 31st, so I'm gonna wish him an early happy birthday. That's why we're getting together with my parents. They live.
I mean, you could have done it
on.
on the 31st. Also, yeah, when Thursday is Halloween, so we might need to change days just because my little one I might not be able to make it.
Fair enough. Aren't you going to be in Baltimore? Oh, that's next week. Sorry.
That's next week.
That's next week.
Yeah.
That's next week.
Yeah.
What
we'll
are
figure
you
that out.
guys doing for Halloween? Do you go to like school or something, or like
Yeah,
daycare
I mean,
and
yeah, he'll do something there, and then we have something. I mean, we'll take him to a couple houses around here, and then we'll take him to his grandparents' house, which is 5 minutes down the road, and kind of do like a little dinner. And their street goes all out with their. It feels like everybody's going all out since COVID with like the Halloween decorations. So we've been kind of taking them around to see them all. So
okay.
I just know we're going to be doing stuff. So I just don't know how that day. That might have to be an earlier in the day podcast.
Okay,
Two
perfect.
shout outs before we finish up here. Paul and Ailish, your wedding was awesome this last weekend. Congratulations to you guys. It was one of the most fun weddings I've ever been to. And I got to see a bunch of friends from college that I haven't seen in forever. And shout out to Mitch, who's one of my best friends in the world. He passed the bar. He just found out a couple days ago. So he is going to be getting a job in the field of law, which is bad news for any bad guys out there.
So never mind.
But yeah, anyway, that's all I have for the end of the week. Bri, do you want to
Yeah. Well, also,
One more announcement. We are either having on this week or next week. I'm still trying to iron out the day to have him on. We'll have old Colts linebacker Gary Brackett from their Super Bowl team to talk some football with us. So that'll be a lot of fun. Get a lot of inside knowledge, maybe some cool stories about Peyton Man thing. So yeah, just trying to iron out when that actually is going to be, but we'll keep you updated, obviously. So that'll be a live one.
Yeah, that'd be great. It'd be awesome. Congrats to Mitch. If we ever get a cease and desist from Gary Williams, we might need to use Mitch's services.
Yeah.
But all right, so I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go meet my parents. But like I say every time, my favorite part about doing these podcasts, I get to actually hang out with my friends, talk to people. Thank you. I know it's been a long, 2 hours plus with the previous interview. So love you guys. It was great seeing you the other day, Dusty. Can't wait to see you guys in person next week. So you need some help, talk to people, talk to your friends. It's what we do here. All right.
Sounds
Great
good.
job. Love you guys, and you have a great day, and we'll see you guys soon.
Love you,
Love
boys.
you guys as well.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween.